Have you ever started a new job or maybe a new project or just tried learning a completely new skill and immediately felt just completely out of your depth?
Oh, that is the worst feeling.
Right. It's that familiar, really intimidating feeling of staring up at this massive mountain while everyone else around you seems to, already be at the summit.
Yeah, like they were just born up there.
Exactly. Well, today's deep dive is based on a really insightful newsletter article by Ghulam Akbar, and it's titled Every Professional Was Once an Amateur.
I love that title.
Same. And our mission today isn't just to make you feel better about being a beginner. We really want to deconstruct the actual journey from novice to expert.
Right, getting into the mechanics of it.
Yeah, we're going to unpack the balanced role of natural ability, consistent practice, and guidance. And honestly, figure out how to push past that paralyzing fear of starting something new.
And I think it's important to set the tone right away here because being a beginner, it's not a sign of weakness. I mean, it is the literal mandatory starting point of every single professional journey.
From like brain surgeons to startup founders.
Absolutely everyone.
But, we often assume that the experts we admire just sort of have it, right? And we don't. So can you clarify what the source actually says about the role of innate talent versus hard work?
Yeah, so Akbar makes a really compelling argument here. He breaks down how exceptional performance is rarely just raw innate ability.
Okay.
It's actually a combination. You might have a predisposition toward a skill, sure, but that has to be combined with an environment where that ability is just heavily nurtured.
Nurtured through like repetition and feedback.
Exactly. Repetition, guidance, constant feedback. The talent alone is essentially just a seed.
Which is wild when you think about the specific historical figures mentioned in the text. I mean, he brings up Mozart, Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, and Friedrich Nietzsche.
Some pretty heavy hitters.
Right? The absolute giants. And it's so easy to think they just woke up brilliant. But even these minds were at one point complete amateurs. They had to work with intense, grueling focus to hone those skills.
They absolutely did.
But here's where it gets really interesting, because I want to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
If talent is just a starting line, does that mean literally anyone can become an Einstein if they just practice enough?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the author's view is actually quite nuanced. The text doesn't claim everyone is exactly the same or a blank slate.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. It acknowledges that geniuses often do have that predisposition. But the core message is that without the grueling, often monotonous practice and the proper environment, the predisposition means absolutely nothing.
It just sits there.
Exactly. Greatness has to be cultivated. It doesn't just happen by accident.
I tend to think of it like a beautifully finished piece of custom furniture.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so we walk in, we admire the glossy finish, right? We call that the genius, but we completely ignore the endless hours of sanding, measuring, and cutting.
Getting covered in sawdust.
Yes. The lonely, totally monotonous parts of the journey that the author mentions, we ignore the sawdust phase, but that's what made the glossy finish possible.
That is a perfect analogy. And reaching that high level of skill requires so much of that monotonous work.
So what happens once someone finally makes it? Like once they are the expert, do they just get to coast?
You would think so, right?
Right.
But the text highlights a really crucial warning about that. Those who are outstanding, the true professionals, they never stop learning.
So it's not a finish line.
Not at all. Achieving professional status isn't the end. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the economic and practical realities mentioned in the source are clear.
Which are what exactly?
Well, the best in their fields are paid more and are in higher demand specifically because they move with the times. They adapt to new information.
Wow, so the flip side is pretty harsh then. The article mentions that those who do not improve as they go along just fall by the wayside.
Yeah, Akbar says they end up living mediocre lives.
But why is complacency such a trap for people who have already put in the hard work to become experts? I mean, they already know how to grind.
It's because early success can create this false sense of security.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, people get to the top and they forget the very beginner's mindset, that hunger and willingness to make mistakes that actually got them there in the first place.
They don't want to look like amateurs again.
Precisely. They protect their ego instead of growing.
Knowing intellectually that we need to keep learning is one thing, but actually taking action when faced with a brand new challenge, that often triggers massive fear.
It's terrifying.
It really is. And the text introduces a real-world example to ground this theory, which I found super helpful. Let's talk about Taiba.
Yes, Taiba's story is a great case study.
So for some context, Taiba is a professional who is transitioning into a new role as a full-time marketing consultant.
Right.
And despite all her past experiences, she's dealing with severe self-doubt, fear, and uncertainty because this consulting world is entirely new territory for her. She's basically paralyzed.
Completely stuck.
Okay, let's unpack this. How does the author's Empowered Life Program coaching method actually approach Taiba's paralysis?
Well, the coaching process described here isn't about uh, handing Taiba a guaranteed solution.
It's not a magic formula.
Right, it's not a checklist. Instead, it's about defining a really clear outcome.
Yeah.
So for her, it was feeling empowered and building a client list.
Okay.
And once that outcome is set, the coach just asks powerful, open-ended questions.
Just asking questions, how does that help her unfreeze?
By opening up possibilities. Through these questions, Taiba is encouraged to realize she isn't alone. She suddenly remembers she has untapped resources.
Like who?
Friends, relatives, previous employers she can consult with, people she completely forgot about because she was so stressed.
Oh, wow. It's almost like good coaching isn't like a chauffeur driving the car for you.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, if they drive, you never learn the route. It's more like someone sitting in the passenger seat with a map, asking you questions that help you figure out which turn you want to take.
That is exactly it. And this method is so powerful because it builds inner strength. Taiba becomes less dependent on the coach and more confident in her own problem solving.
But wait, having the realization that resources are available is great, but how does she actually cross the gap from feeling overwhelmed to taking concrete action?
Because having 10 people to call could make you more anxious, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
just a different type of overwhelm.
So the next specific practical step from the coaching session is prioritization. The coach asks Taiba to prioritize her actions.
Narrowing it.
Yes. She decides the absolute most important next step is finding a mentor in her current workplace to help her navigate the new skills she needs.
And the action she takes to do that is so incredibly practical. The text points out she simply sets up a regular time in her calendar to reach out to potential mentors.
A calendar block.
Just a simple calendar invite. It's such a small action step.
It is, and this raises an important question for you listening right now. When you are feeling overwhelmed by a new skill, are you trying to climb the whole mountain at once?
Which is impossible.
Right. Or are you just trying to schedule a 15-minute calendar block to find a guide?
Shrinking the mountain. And the outcome of this process is huge. By taking ownership of just that one small prioritized step, Taiba gains clarity.
She feels empowered.
Exactly. She feels empowered and she actually begins her own ascent from amateur to professional.
Just by sending a meeting invite.
So let's pull all these core themes together. First, every professional starts at the bottom.
Every single one.
Talent has to be relentlessly nurtured through that sawdust phase. The best in the world never stop learning. And action, even tiny action, cures fear.
It's a really solid framework.
So here's our challenge to you for this week. Identify one area in your life right now where you are currently an amateur and commit to one practical, small action you can take this week.
Just like Taiba did with her calendar.
Exactly.
And remember the author's key promise here. You may not have the knowledge or the skills yet, but through intentional effort, you can absolutely change that. You just have to start.
Beautifully said. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Oh, I'm ready.
If every single genius, surgeon, and expert you admire had to push through the exact same awkward amateur phase you are avoiding right now, what future expertise is currently hiding behind your fear of just looking like a beginner? Especially considering how AI is mastering these skills in seconds, redefining what being a professional even means for the next decade.
That is a lot to think about.
It really is. Get your calendar out, start sanding that wood, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.